Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone. Thank you for watching this live webinar session. So here comes another webinar for you, all the SPM candidates of 2021. This is like the second season of our webinar. So we have ended our first part of the weekly webinar, should I say, probably it's called season, the first part we had the something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this comes with, the Eternals era. So that's a good movie that I've been looking forward to watching. And it will be much better. And then we're going to offer so much more to you for your success. So beginning this week, we are so proud because we are in collaboration with SEGi University Kota Damansara. They have been helping us a lot with the organization of our weekly webinar. So of course, when we mentioned that, so SEGi University Kota Damansara has prepared something very important for us. Not only some useful information, but also lucky draw prizes for all you lucky viewers out there. So let me introduce myself. So I'm actually Mr. Heriansha. So you have been watching me every week. So I'm your moderator for tonight, and we are very fortunate enough to have a very prominent, should I say prominent, probably in a way, so prominent speaker. Like everybody knows who he is. He's very good at delivering some useful tips for SPM candidates, especially when it comes to paper two of the uh, English language. So I think you are looking forward to listening to a lot that he has to say, or he has to deliver, especially how to score in certain parts in your paper. So Mr. Bobby Chan Ziing. He will be with us shortly. So, for those who is quite a first timer joining us in this weekly webinar, so our program is called Gerbang Cemerlang SPM. So tonight we have the English paper two, proudly organized by the Sektor Pembelajaran PBD Johor Bahru in collaboration with SEGi University Kota Damansara, and also supported by the um, state government of Johor. So we are very lucky to have these organizations with us. So without further ado, I think Mr. Bobby is ready to go on screen. Okay, let me welcome him. Hi, Mr. Bobby. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Harian. I'm good. How are
Okay,
you?
how are you doing?
Yes, good, good. Right.
Okay, so thank you for accepting our invitation to have you help us, to guide our SPM candidates, especially those in Johor Bahru, because this is our effort in helping our students so that they can better their scores for paper two for the English language. So, where are you actually broadcasting from tonight?
I'm at home. I'm from Johor. I'm in Johor Bahru at home actually.
Which part of Johor Bahru is that?
Taman Perling.
Taman Perlin so far. So
Yes, right.
uh,
Okay.
I'm from actually I'm here in Bandar Toan. So
Okay.
it's good that because of this pandemic era, we've got the opportunity to really do something for students even in the evening without having
Exactly.
to
Even at
meet
night, right?
face to face.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what about if I'm not mistaken, you must have met your students already, right?
Yeah, I've been meeting them for 2 weeks
Uh-huh.
since last week. Okay, so so far it's quite good. They've been responsive. Yeah, they're going to school. The best part is they're going back to school. They're excited and so on.
Okay. Yeah, I must
Mhm.
say, it's quite satisfying to see your students, right, in front of your face. I mean, like, you have not been seeing them. I mean, you have not met your students for so long, right? So do you,
Yes, yes.
uh,
Different kind of satisfaction here, seeing them face to face. You can see their facial reaction. You get to listen to them.
what about your homework? Have you assessed some
Homework,
homework and then
right?
did you check
If
on
I
it?
have my students here, yeah, I think some of them they are still owing me some work, I guess.
So is SMK Taman Desa Skudai your only or your first school uh, where you teach now? I mean, is it the only school
No,
that
this
you
is my third school. So
your
previously I
third
was in
school?
two other school. Yeah, this is my
Is it
third
in
school. Previously, I was
Johor
in
Bahru as
Sri
well?
Tebrau. Yeah, Sri
Uh-huh.
Tebrau, Johor Bahru, and then
Awesome.
SMK Sri Peling. And then
Uh-huh.
recently, I've just moved to Desa Skudai.
So I wonder, is there any difference between teaching your students between these three schools? I mean, what about their level of proficiency? Probably, is there anything that you have noticed, or more or less they are quite the same?
They do have differences when it comes to level of proficiencies, but of course they have their
Mm-hmm.
strength as well. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say right now I'm still discovering the proficiency and then the strength of my students in this new school. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think they are very. I think they are quite active. They are quite proactive in many senses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so despite being this Skudai is a bit far away from town, but somehow they do have the strength, and then I think they are quite proactive, and they seem to be very interested in learning as well.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Enough with the chit chat here and there. I mean, like, we just get to know each other, and then that's good to know that
Yes.
we do have teachers like you to help us out. And without further ado, I think I just going to let you prepare your presentation. So while waiting for that, there is an important information that I would like to share with you, which is actually SEGi University Kota Damansara has prepared for us um, some lucky draw prizes. So it's very important that you can click. I'll be sharing. Actually, there is a link in the description of this video. So just click on the link and then key in all your details, especially your name, your delivery address, because they want to deliver the prizes to you, and then your phone number, just in case they want to contact for to ask for some confirmation on who you are. So please click on the link, and if not, you can as well just scan on the QR code, as you can see on the top. um, it's the top right of your screen. I think it's a top left, top right on your screen there. Okay, please scan it if you are watching this from your laptop. But if you are watching from your phones or mobile devices, you can just click on the link in the description below. All right, key in your details as soon as possible. So a representative of the Second University will contact you very soon should you be the winner. Okay. All right. What about Mr. Bobby? Are you ready
Oh
with
yes.
your presentation?
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for your presentation to appear. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay. And just one more. If you have any questions about what if you have any question about the paper two or anything that you need more clarification from Mr. Bobby, please feel free to ask your question, write your question, type your question in the live chat box. Okay, I will try my best to read out your question, but this is how we go about our webinar. So we're going to start with, I was briefed that we are going to have about four parts of the presentation tonight. So we will only read out the question at the end of each part. So you might want to keep your question towards the end of each part. So so you would know when to ask the questions. Since I tell you this, do not ask your question too early. So you just want to keep your question towards the end of each part, and I will pick up some good questions and deliver that to Mr. Bobby. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Bobby, I can see your presentation now. Okay, let's bring that up to the screen. All right. Okay, Mr. Bobby, the screen is yours. So go ahead with your um, presentation.
okay, sure. All right. Thank you, Mr. Harian. Okay, so let me just begin. Let me just go on straight away. So you do know that before that, a very good evening, okay, to all the students and teachers who are present. Thank you very much to PPD Johor Bahru, okay, especially the SICs, okay, and then also thank you very much to SEG University for giving me this opportunity to share with the students, okay, on what on paper two. Right, so let me just proceed. So as for paper two, as for English, we do have four papers, and I'm very sure you know what they are. We have reading, we have writing, we have speaking, we have listening. Okay, so let us look at the breakdown for a while, just in case some of you are still blurred about it. Okay, as for paper one, that will be a reading paper. So you have 40 marks. Okay, 40 marks, 40 questions. So, and then as for paper 2, you have 60 marks, but you have 3 questions that you have to answer. Okay, so you have 3 parts, 3 questions you have to answer. And then for speaking, you have 24 marks. For listening, you have 30 marks. And then everything will be converted into percentage. There will be 25% each. So this means that no paper is superior than the other, and then you have to make sure you do well in all the papers. Okay, so it's very different from SPM previous SPM, where you can say you prefer to do reading paper, just reading paper, focusing on that. But this time it's a bit different, which means you do have to score in all the papers. Okay, so and then we move on to the time. So 1 hour, 30 minutes will be given for both paper 1 and paper 2. So it's quite important for paper 2 here, 1 hour, 30 minutes, because assuming you have 3, you're answering 3 questions, right? So assuming you're using 30 minutes each for every question. So you have to be able to manage your time well. You have to utilize your time to the max. Okay, and then as for some of you who are very good and competent writers, you may be able to complete writing before that. Okay, so and then as for speaking, you have 13 minutes, and then as for listening, you have 40 minutes. Right, so this is the general breakdown of the paper. Okay, so I'll move on to writing straight away. So what are the essays I need to write? So like what I mentioned earlier, you have 3 essays that you have to write. So 3 parts. So you have the first part, which is the compulsory task. Okay, so you have to write an email of about 80 words. So please take note of the number of words that you have to write. 80. Okay, so this is of the A2 level. So you might not be too sure of the levels for now, but your teachers are very sure of them, A2 level. And as for part 2, you are supposed to write an essay. This will be a guided writing in about 150 words. So this is of B1 level in CFR. And then for part 3, you have to choose between 3 questions. Okay, from 3 questions, 3 options given to you. So you have to choose either to write an article, a report, a review, or a story. So take note of the number of words, 80 words, 150 words, and 250 words. So which means if you have 30 minutes each, you may be using less time here. Maybe you'll be using 20 minutes here in the first part for email. Then you could be using 30 minutes to write a second essay. Then maybe 40 minutes for the third essay because it's slightly longer. Okay, so bear in mind, you do have to manage your time well. All right. So let us look at example task. So your teachers have been showing this to you for at least 2 years, I think. Okay, you have been exposed to this question, so I'm very sure you have seen this question. So first one is a very simple email. So you receive an email from a new friend, and then you have to reply to your friend in 80 words. Okay, so part 2. So this will be the question in part 2. Okay, so take note of the things that you have to address. Later we'll look more detail into these 3 bullets here. So this is just the example task for part 2. And for part 3, you have options to choose from. Okay, you have an article. Okay, then you have a review. Okay, so and then you have one more, a story. So you have 3 questions that you can choose from. So you have to answer 1. Okay, so how will my essays be marked? So I am very sure up to this point, your teachers have been marking using this symbols, not symbols, the alphabets, right? The C, okay, you see the C, CA, then you see the O, and then L. So you have the content, you have the communicative achievement, the CA, then you have organization, and then you have language. Okay, so you have these 4 parts of a pie, and you see that content is actually cut off from the rest of the pie. Okay, because content is quite important here. Okay, so every question will be marked as 20 marks. You'll be given 20 marks for every essay. And then every part of this, every criterion will be given 5 marks. So content 5 marks, CA 5 marks, organization 5 marks, and then language also 5 marks. Okay, then for the content, there will be something that I have to address later. So just bear in mind, listen carefully. Yeah? So let us look at the cheat sheet here, right? So as for content, so content refers to the fulfillment of the task, how well you interpret the question and how relevant your response is. Okay, so whether or not you are answering the question. So in a very simple way to explain to you is how well do you answer the question? or how fully do you answer the question? Okay, so there will be bullets that you have to address, like the ones just now. If there are 3 bullets, then you have to answer the questions, the 3 bullets questions. Okay, then if you're asked to give advice, you have to give advice rather than ask for advice. So meaning, do you understand? So if your friend is asking you to give advice, to give suggestions, you have to do so. Okay, you have to be able to give them advice. So if there are minor omissions, the marks will be lower. So which means if there are 3 bullets there, if you're only answering 1 or 2 and not the third one, so of course the marks will be lower. Okay, so like what I mentioned just now, every criterion is given 5 marks here. Okay, so the last bullet, misinterpretation of task requirements, will also lead to low scores for content. Okay, so misinterpretation means if you do not understand the question. Okay, so later we are going to look at one sample. Okay, then you will see how the candidate or how the sample has actually misinterpreted the question. Okay, so bear in mind content. Okay, so one thing I have to tell you here. So as for content, you have to make sure you are not away from the question itself. If you are not answering the question totally, you'll be getting a 0 for the content. And the moment you get 0 for your content, the rest of the criteria will be given zeros. Bear in mind. So second one, the communicative achievement. So if you look at the word communicative achievement, it comes from the word communicate. Okay, so communicate. So it means how well do you communicate using your essay? Okay, how well does your essay communicate with people? So how successful are you in writing? Okay, so we'll be looking at a few things here. Is your text the right type? Okay, so if you're asked to write an article, a report, a review, a story, so are you answering that? Are you writing an article? Are you writing a report? Are you writing a review, or are you writing a story? Okay, then how intelligent are your ideas? Okay, so meaning how are you able to convince people? Okay, or how smart are your ideas? Okay, and then are you able to hold the reader's attention? So do you explain your ideas very clearly? Because sometimes there will be some writers who are not able to explain it in very simple form. Okay, they will beat around the bush and then people cannot understand what you're trying to say. Okay, and then next one, how straightforward are your ideas? Okay, like what I mentioned just now. So does it take a long time for people to understand what you're trying to say? So in a way, it goes back to the genre. So genre will be the article, report, and so on. Okay, the register here. So later I'll talk a bit about register, the tone, and function. So everything goes under communication here, your CA, communicative achievement. So third criterion will be the organization. So when we talk about organization in writing essays, of course, we talk about paragraphing. Okay, so whether or not you know how to organize your paragraphs. So there will be essays that might not need paragraphs. For instance, your email, you can write it in just one paragraph, no problem. Okay, but sometimes if you're writing the second question, the third part, you have to organize in paragraphs because they are long essays, and then you have to be able to show people, to show the reader and then the examiners, what are you writing in this paragraph? What are you trying to say in the second paragraph and the third paragraph? Then we cannot run away from punctuation as well. Okay, your punctuation. So your full stop, your upper cases, your lower cases. So all this will fall under organization, whether or not you know how to use your speech markers well. Okay, the question marks, your full stops. Okay, then the third one. So linking words. All of us use linking words in one way or another. So we use high frequency linking words such as and, but, because. So all these are simple linking words. We do have them. You need to have them in your writing. Okay, then we move on to something we call the cohesive devices. I'm very sure up to this point for Form 5 students, your teachers have exposed you to this. You should know what cohesive devices are. So we have longer, we have sophisticated linking words and phrases such as moreover. You have furthermore. Okay, then you have, and then also you have moreover, furthermore, yeah. Okay, in addition to that. So all these are actually cohesive devices. Okay, then if you go to a bit higher, so we have the organizational pattern in writing. So this will be the the highest form of organization here. Okay, so you will have not just in words, okay, but you have in phrases. For example, later I will show them to you. Okay, so you have 5 marks here, 5 marks here, 5 marks for organization, and then the last one, you have language. Okay, so when we talk about language, we cannot run away from grammar. We cannot run away from vocabulary. Okay, so grammar, of course, you have to be consistent, especially if you're writing stories. Okay, are you using present tense, past tense? Okay, and then if you're writing a report, are you using the reporting language? Okay, so what kind of language are you using? And then are you consistent in using all the language? Okay, so are you consistent using present tense? Are you consistent in using your past tense? Then we look at vocab. So we look at thematic vocab as well. So what kind of vocabulary is actually suitable if you are talking about, say, for example, if you're talking about examination, if you're talking about stress, if you're talking about health. So what kind of vocab are we looking for? Okay, then we have high-level words, we have complex grammatical forms. So these are the things you cannot run away from. Again, and also we have everyday words and simple vocab. So it all depends. If you're writing to your friend, you will be using everyday words, for example, communication language, simple everyday words that your friends can easily communicate with. Okay, but if you're writing an article, if you're writing something that is quite factual, maybe a review, you may be using higher level words here. Okay, then as for language, if the mistakes are so bad and the readers cannot understand, of course, you will be getting a 0. Okay, so for every criterion here, you will be given a maximum of 5. But as for content, if your content is 0, which means if you do not answer the question at all, the other parts will all be given 0. So which means you have to get a minimum of at least 1 here. 1, then you can get higher, you can get other marks. Maybe you get a 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 5, for example. Huh? So total marks will be 20. Okay, right. So let me go into the content. Okay, so far, are you clear? Is there any question? Okay, so
so far, we do not have any question. I think you may proceed to the next part of your presentation tonight.
okay, right. Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
So we
Right.
move on to the content. Okay, so if you fully answer the question, you get a 5. Okay, if you don't answer one part of the question or include some irrelevant text, you will get a 3 or 4. Okay, so which means if you don't answer that, if you have 3 bullets given to you in the question, you have to address all 3. Okay, then only you get a 5. Okay, if you don't answer 1 or 2 bullets, you will be if you don't answer 1 bullet, you will be getting a 3 or a 4. Okay, then if you only answer a small part of the question, you will be getting a 1 or a 2. If you don't answer the question at all, you get 0. So if you get 0, the other parts will also be given 0. All right, the other criteria. So let's take a look at the sample here. So this is the same question from just now. So you receive an email from your new friend Amy, who has just moved to your hometown. Hi, the school holiday is finally here. Let's go for a picnic with our friends. Where shall we go and what can we do there? What should we bring? I'll be waiting for your reply. Bye. Right? So you see, there are 3 questions actually embedded in this in the whole question. So where shall we go? What can we do there? What should we bring? So these will be the 3 bullets that you have to address. If you do not answer one of these questions, you may be getting a 4 or a 3. But normally examiners will give you a 3, okay, instead of a 4. Okay, do not ask me why. That is how it is marked. Okay, so if you only answer one of these questions, you'll be getting a 1, say for example. But if you don't address anything at all, you'll be getting a 0. So which means you'll be getting a 0 for CA, 0 for organization, 0 for language as well. All right, so make sure you answer at least one of these questions. And do not sway from the topic. Okay, the topic is about picnic. Do not suddenly write something about going to, for example, going to the library, for instance. Okay, so, and then it's about 80 words. Okay, let's look at part 2. So part 2, you do have questions you have to address as well. Right, so your class has been discussing how they spend their money and your teachers ask you to write an essay about what you spend your money on. So in your essay, you should write about what you like to buy. So this is the first question. Then reasons for your choice. Then where do you usually buy these things? So 3 questions you have to address. Okay, so you have to answer them to get a 5 for content. So it's 125 to 150 words. And remember, okay, this question will be longer, so you have to organize it in paragraph. Okay, if you were to write this in about 4 paragraphs, you can easily have 35 words in every paragraph. Okay, so it will all come up to 140 words will be good enough. So if you write in about 40 words, you have 160. Okay, 160 is good enough for this question. Huh? So and then the next thing we focus on will be the CA, like what I mentioned just now. So I will show you some sentences or some phrases here. Okay, so the first one, my school teachers are not as good as the other school's teachers because they are not understanding and kind. Okay, so what do you think of this statement? Okay, so next statement, as the mayor of this town, it is your responsibility to make sure the town is clean. You have to work harder. Okay, so this is the second example. Third one, dear lovely mother, I think I will buy my lovely sister, your loving daughter, a new watch as a gift. Okay, next one, this hotel is the worst. The service is horrible and the rooms are for animals. Okay, like what I mentioned earlier, everything goes back to communicative achievement. So in your CA, it involves 1, straightforwardness. Is your idea very straightforward? Can people actually understand what you're trying to say? If you look at this point here, the third one, dear lovely mother, I think I will buy my lovely sister, your loving daughter, a new watch as a gift. It's a bit confusing here. So the idea is not very straightforward. And you can see that it is not very intelligent, the way it is actually put. Okay? And then also under CA, we talk about register. So register will be how formal are you? The tone. Okay, are you polite? Okay, do you know who you are talking to? For example, if you're writing an article in a school magazine or maybe outside magazine, and you comment on your teachers, saying that your teachers are not as good as other schools' teachers, so it's actually quite rude. Okay, quite rude. So that's why it's not a good way to write. Okay, and then as for this one, the second one, as the mayor of this town, it is your responsibility to make sure the town is clean. So if you're writing to your principal, your pengetua, if you're writing to the chief police, if you're writing to the mayor, to the officer and so on, you cannot be rude. That is the register. Okay, you have to be polite. And then you are not supposed to instruct people. You cannot order people. You cannot say, you should do this, you should do that. Imagine yourself going up to your pengetua and say, dear pengetua, you must do this, you must do that. You have to buy us new tables and chairs. We don't have the right to do so. So if you write in this manner, it is quite rude. So the CA marks will be quite low. Okay. So and then as for the last one here, hotel is the worst. The service is horrible, and the rooms are for animals. This is too much. Okay. In a review, you will not see sentences like this. If you dislike a hotel, if you don't think it's good, there will be ways for you to actually explain. Okay. For example, I would not recommend you staying in this hotel because the hotel can have. I think you have learned this in your chapter, in your unit 11 of the download textbook. Okay, in unit 11 or unit 10, I'm not sure, one of this. Okay, so on how you look at the positive side of things. Okay, if your teachers have gone through every unit, I'm very sure you have learned this. So if you're writing about a comment or giving a comment or something, you have to make it sound positive. Okay, so don't do this. Now, let's move on to the next one, organization. So a lot of things I want to talk about. Organization here, if you look at this sentence, firstly, I love jogging because jogging makes me fit and healthy. So I love jogging but not swimming. You look at the things I've highlighted. Okay, firstly, then because, and but. So these are simple and common linkers. Okay, simple and common linkers. But if you're using all this, it doesn't mean you can get a 5. Okay, because these are simple linkers, simple connectors here. Okay, text is connected, is coherent. Okay, you do have basic linking words here in this example, and then you do have limited number of cohesive devices, the firstly. Okay, so then it is connected with punctuation, with full stops and commas, then your text makes sense, that is coherent. So if you're able to construct a sentence like this, a sentence like this, a short paragraph like the first one, it's only a 1 mark. Okay, this is only a 1 mark. So meaning if you're only writing using because, using and, using so, using but, this is not a 3 marks or a 4 marks or a 5 marks essay. Okay, it's actually a 1 mark. All right. So to get higher marks, of course, you need to have more things: paragraphing, your punctuation, and so on. So let's look at another example. So if your text is generally well organized and coherent, so you have the word well organized here. And if you are able to use a variety of linking words and cohesive devices such as this, so there are a few cohesive devices that you can actually practice, that you can actually highlight as you are writing. First, you can have higher level linking words and phrases. Then you have reference pronouns. Then you have substitution. Then you have ellipsis. Then you have repetition. So you have these 5 kinds of the basic cohesive devices that you are supposed to practice in your writing. Okay, so if you can use all these 5, you will be getting a 3 marks. Okay, so 3 marks in your essay. So let's go through the 5 different kinds of cohesive devices here. Okay, the first one, you have higher level linking words and phrases. Example, you do have moreover, however, on the one hand, on the other hand, furthermore, then you have besides. Okay, so if you have this, if you use this in your writing, so this can guarantee you a 2 to 3 marks. Sometimes you may not be getting 3. It's not a guaranteed 3, not a guaranteed 3, because it depends on how accurate your usage is. If you can use them very accurately, then maybe a 3. Okay, but if examiners see that it's basically you're just dumping in words and they are not really if they're not really successful, okay, so you may not be able to get a 3, maybe a 2. Okay, so next one, you have reference pronouns. So I'll show you some examples here. I like Alice. She is the best. Okay, so if you're using I like Alice, Alice is the best, it is a weaker sentence here because you're repeating the use of Alice. So here you use the word she as a pronoun, okay, to replace the word Alice. So you can this can guarantee you better marks for your organization. Okay, another example, I live in Kuching, which is the capital city of Sarawak. Instead of saying I live in Kuching, Kuching is the capital city of Sarawak. So if you repeat that, that will be weaker. Okay, so if you say which is, of course, it's better, right? So next one, I've said it's risky, and this is why you shouldn't do it. So you have the word this here. So this referred to something, the event maybe, or the action. So this is a pronoun. So if you are writing sentences using pronouns here, of course, it's much better. Okay. Next one, you have substitution, the third kind of cohesive device. So substitute means you replace. Let's look at this sentence, a weaker one. I like shopping and my friends like shopping as well. Okay, so it's actually a repeated thing there. My friends like shopping as well. So better statement, you have I like shopping and my friends do as well. So you're using this word do, a simple word, to replace they like shopping as well. So this is the better one. This can get you a 3 marks instead of a 1. Okay, if you're writing this, it's actually a 1 mark. All right. So the fourth one, ellipsis. So ellipsis means you delete certain things that are not needed. Example, my brothers are very active in school. So both are incredibly athletic. Okay, so if you have both my brothers are incredibly athletic, so if you do not use the my brothers here, if you take them out, you just write both are incredibly athletic. So it's ellipsis. So you'll be getting better marks for your cohesive devices. So another example, I usually go to school by bus, but I sometimes go to school by car. So if you take out the I, go to school, meaning you shorten it, I usually go to school by bus, but sometimes by car. So it's called ellipsis here. Okay, so you have already successfully used ellipsis here. So this can guarantee you 3 marks. And the last one, you have repetition. So sometimes repetition is actually bad, okay? Which means examiners will know if you are a very good candidate or if you are a very weak candidate. So weaker candidates, they repeat a lot. But some good candidates, they use repetition to show emphasis. Like if you're writing something to do with action, okay? You might be there. So you will have to do this, you will have to do that, you will need to do this. So these kind of statements will be repetition, but it's to show emphasis. Example, okay? So there are students who work hard, there are students who do not work as hard, and finally, there are also students who are plain lazy. So you can see that this is actually a very good complex sentence. So they are students who, there are students who, there are students who is repeated 3 times, but to show emphasis. Okay, so if you're able to use these 5 kinds of cohesive devices in your writing, you can get 3 marks. Still not 5, okay? Still not 5. But let's look at 5 now. So if you want to get 5, your text has to be well organized and coherent, and you have a variety of cohesive devices and organizational patterns, okay? So you have higher level way of connecting sentences. So let me show you the example here. Higher level, you have examples like this. One reason I like my smartphone is that another advantage is my smartphone, but I really love my smartphone because then after the man finished the work, you do have a lot of fixers here, time fixers, you have situational fixers before I start my routine, before I started my routine in order for all that to happen. So all these are actually organizational patterns here to make matters worse, not wanting to give up. As I was about to cross the street, it all started when. So all these are what we call organizational patterns. If you can put this into your writing and if you can organize everything well, you can get a 5 for organization, okay? So this will be 5 marks, huh? To my surprise, he. All right. So how to improve writing using cohesive devices? Let me show you some example. Okay, so let's look at this. Ali was walking to the store. Ali saw a cat. The cat was under a tree. The cat was injured. Okay, now, from what I've explained to you earlier, you can see that this is quite a simple paragraph. If you are in standard 1, okay, if you are in standard 2, you can say it's good. Okay, but you can see Ali is repeated here. Ali is repeated, the cat, then the cat is repeated here also. Okay, so it's a weaker way of writing. So if you were to write this in your exam, this is definitely a 1, okay, a 1 mark for the organization. So better one, as Ali was walking to the store, you have as there, okay, then he saw a cat under a tree, and it. So you have and, again, this one is a linker, this one is a linker, and then this one becomes an organizational pattern. So he becomes a pronoun, so it becomes a pronoun, it was injured. So of course, this sentence will be much better. Then with organizational pattern, you can get a 4 or a 5 if you know how to use this sentence in your writing, okay? Second example. So first, the students did not like to attend extra classes. Students prefer sports, okay? You have a simple connector here. So first, okay, then students. You have the repeated use of students and students here. So if you can organize your essay in this way, one of the main reasons students gave was that they did not like to attend extra classes as they prefer sports. So of course, you can see this is much higher level, and then a better way of writing, better way of organizing your points. So this is a very good style of writing, one of the main reasons, okay? Then students, you have the pronoun they, okay? Then you have a connector here as they prefer sports. So this will become a very good cohesive device, okay? Next, another example. I like the movie a lot because the movie is interesting. The movie has a lot of action scenes. I think when it comes to this, you are very clear of what I'm trying to say. So the movie overall. So if you're writing a review, you do need some what do you call that, signals or some indicator for examiner to know that you are using cohesive devices, like overall or in conclusion, to conclude, I like the movie a lot because, so you have the connector because, okay, it is interesting and it has a lot of action scenes. So you have the pronoun it and it. So it's much better than the first one. So you can see on the left here, they are actually weaker sentences. So here they are better sentences. So of course, better ones can guarantee you 4 or 5, okay? Right, so using cohesive devices. So I've mentioned some of this, but okay, so you know that there are words, words and phrases that help you to link your points together. Okay, so examples I've given you just now, some of them. Okay, you cannot ask your teachers to say, teacher, you give us a whole list of cohesive devices for us to memorize. You cannot memorize them, okay, because there is one problem here, especially with the students who are very ambitious. You tend to memorize the cohesive devices, and sometimes when you memorize cohesive devices, you will be using them very unnaturally. So they become very unnatural. So they become very mechanical, they become very dull, and then you are flooding your essays with cohesive devices. They'll become too many. Like to start with, okay, for example, however, therefore, for one thing. You do have too many here, okay? Right. So next one, so misusing. So you have to be very familiar and very clear with what you are using. So that is why your teachers cannot give you the whole list for you to memorize, because you have to be very familiar and very comfortable using some of them. Maybe you like to use the word however. You like to use the phrase in addition to. Maybe you like to use the word furthermore. So that is for you. Okay, but as for your friends, they may have some other cohesive devices they prefer using. Okay, so next one. So changing cohesive devices. This is very dangerous. We see this. So because cohesive devices are very fixed, you cannot modify. Like on the one hand, you cannot say on the on hand. If you say this, the whole idea is wrong. First and most of all is wrong. In conclusion, conclusionally is wrong. We don't have this. And this is very common among Malaysian students. For an example, it comes from Bahasa Melayu, sebagai satu contoh. We don't have for an example in English. It's just for example, for instance, that's it. And then also if you write besides that has a totally different meaning. So you have to know what and which cohesive device you are actually using and referring to. Okay? So do not simply suka-suka hati change the cohesive devices. Right. Okay, next one. Some cohesive devices, they are actually informal. Maybe they are not so suitable. Okay, so for example, last but not least, you don't really use this when it comes to writing article. Maybe in a speech, yes. If you are giving a speech, you can use this. Last but not least, and so on. And then there are some outdated ones like this. This is not from me. Okay, this is actually from Cambridge, okay, right? So it's not from me, okay? So we do follow this, okay? So it's from IELTS, okay? So, and then also the last reminder: use cohesive devices sparingly and accurately, okay? You have to be very accurate. If you are saying in addition to this, okay, as long as you have to know what you are actually putting before and after the phrase, okay? Then use it sparingly means you have to berpada-pada. Do not flood your essay with cohesive devices. That's why it's very dangerous if you memorize cohesive devices. You are going to dump in a lot of things, okay? So you have to know when to use. You use some of them here, a bit of them here, maybe one or two. Because remember, even words such as it, even words such as his, such as him, they can be cohesive devices. Not just furthermore, moreover, and so on. Imagine if your essay begins with furthermore, moreover, then everything it goes in furthermore, moreover, at the same time, in addition to that, it will become very unnatural, okay? Because you do have other cohesive devices like repetition, okay, like ellipsis, like also pronouns, okay? So remember that. So if you look at this paragraph here, on the one hand, students can visit the canteen during the afternoon in order to meet friends and study together. You have on the one hand, in order to. Consequently, they can become happier. They is actually a cohesive device here, happy and learn more. As a result is actually a cohesive device. So they, again, a cohesive device. Their study is also cohesive. So, however, there are some drawbacks to this situation. So, however, for example, students could find themselves spending too much time there. Clearly, right? So, this is fraught with problems. For one thing, they might not visit the library as much as they could, therefore. So, what is wrong with this paragraph here? So, let me give you the answer. So, simple. You just have too many cohesive devices, all right? Too many cohesive devices. So, when you have too many cohesive devices, it will become very unnatural, all right? So, last thing we're going to look at, it will be the language, the thematic vocab. Okay, so if you're writing something to do with vacation, you learn this in your Form 5 textbook also. You need to have phrases like this, okay? Phrases or words. You need to know. That is why your teachers have gone through every unit. Your Form 5 textbook, Form 4 textbook, they're actually very good. You have a lot of vocab that you can practice. Okay, if you had really done all the practice during your MCO, during your PDPR at home, I'm very sure you have done all that. So you could have learned a lot of vocab. Okay, a lot of phrasal verbs, a lot of vocab. Okay, so that's why. So you have words such as hotel rates, you have lush greenery, you have haven, you have paradise, you have private beach, you have public beach, then you have white sandy beaches, you have crystal clear water, cascading waterfall. You have all these thematic words for vacation, and you have a lot more, okay? Then if you're talking about social media, okay, so you have words and phrases like this: connectivity, in just a click, within the comfort of one's home, convenient, instant, borderless, sharing files, posting messages, sending text messages, fast charging. So you need to know what you're talking about. Like in your unit 4, it's about shopping. You need to have all these words and phrases to do with shopping, okay? So if it's about movies and films, if you're writing a review, you need to have phrases like at the edge of your seat, cinematic, cinematography, suspense, sound effect, thrilling, OST, acting skills, setting, reaction, jaw-dropping. Okay? So which means if you're writing something to do with a specific topic, you need to know what you're writing. You need to have the package of words used for all these things. And what do you do? How do you learn? I think everything comes from your textbook. Okay? Because the CMR textbooks are actually very good. Okay? So if you are not sure, refer to your units. Okay? So to sum up, this will be content. So did you answer all the questions? Answer all the questions, the 3 bullets, the 4 bullets, maybe the 3 bullets basically, yeah? So as for the CA, so is your essay straightforward? Okay. So did you write the correct genre? Did you use the correct register and tone? And then as for organization, did you organize your essay well? So are you using paragraphs? Did you punctuate your essay well? Okay, and then very important, did you use linkers, cohesive devices, then language? So did you use the correct tenses? Then did you use the appropriate vocab? Okay, so this will be how your essays will be marked, all the 5, 5, 5, 5. So total 20 marks for every essay. Okay, so right. Any question when it comes to this?
Okay, we've got about 3 or 4 questions so far. Let me start with this one. So, how many cohesive devices are needed to actually get 5 marks for email?
Okay, so the number of cohesive devices, actually your examiners will not count. Like what I mentioned earlier, we look at the accuracy of cohesive devices. For example, if your email is about 100 words and you know how to use just a few here and there, but they are very well placed, well put, accurately used, so you can get 5 marks. Okay, so you need to know how to use them well. That's all. We don't count. There is no numeric calculations here.
And another one we have from Ismail Faisal. If the question is, what will you do if you become a millionaire? Then can I repeat saying, I would do this, I would do that, like what I would do? Now you keep saying that. So I think what is meant by Ismail is like to have like very repetitive,
The
keep
repetition,
saying,
right? I think,
yeah.
yeah, I think I understand what he's trying to say. Okay, so
Uh-uh.
if you are talking about this repetition here, it all comes back to your essays. So examiners can detect if you're a very competent writer. Okay, so based on your essay, examiners can detect If you're a very good writer and if you use repetition, examiner can know that you are trying to emphasize. So nothing wrong with that. But if you repeat this part a lot and the other parts are actually quite weak, examiner will sense that there is actually the lack of words there. Maybe the candidate is unable to come up with extra words. So that's how examiners will know what to do, how to mark when it comes to that. Okay, so if you're a very good and competent writer, if you want to use repetition, go on, you can. Okay, because you can control your essay well. So don't worry.
There's another one. Can you handle another two?
Okay, sure.
Okay, all right. So from Pikimi, how to get the highest mark in email and both of the essay? I'm not sure what is meant by both.
Okay, meeting all the essays, right? All the 3 parts, I think.
Okay.
Okay, how to get the highest mark in both the essay. Okay, so coming back to the 4 criteria just now, content, you have to answer all the questions. CA, you have to know who you are writing to. If you're writing to your principal, if you're writing to the police, if you're writing to your friends, if you're writing to a best friend, okay, then are you formal or are you informal? Are you rude or not rude? Are you being friendly enough to your friend? So everything will fall under CA. Then organization, do you use punctuation? Do you use paragraphing? So if you're able to fulfill all these 4 things, the C, CA, O, and L, well, if you're able to do them well, of course you can get a 20 marks here. Okay? Actually, I've mentioned just now, even for the language, it has to be thematic. It comes to tenses, it all narrows down to tenses, your language, then your choice of words, your word choice. If you're talking about pollution, do you have the words for pollution? Do you have words such as incinerator? Do you have words such as recycling? Do you have words such as biodegradable? Do you have words such as breakdown? Okay, if you can use all this in your writing, which means you are competent, you are good enough to get a 5 for language. Okay? Right.
And in by Ismail Faisal, he asked before, and this is the second question from him. Is the format for email provided, or we must come up on our own?
Okay, actually in CFR, we do not look at the format. There will be no marks for format, but you have to remember it goes down to CA. Okay, all the 3 parts here, it will go into CA, as in, if you're writing an email, it must sound like an email. That is communicative achievement. Okay, the CA here. So it must sound like an email. If you're writing a report, it must sound like a report. For example, if you're writing a report, then suddenly you write, "Good morning, sir." It will sound like a speech. Okay, then if it's a report, you write to who? To Mr. Jones, the principal. But if you write "Dear Sir," it becomes a letter. So you have to be very clear of what you are writing. Okay, so if that happens, if you write the wrong genre, you will not be getting a 0, don't worry, okay? For example, if the title is article, then suddenly you write "thank you," it becomes a speech, okay? Maybe it will go down by a bit, but if the rest of the essay is very good, maybe the examiner will just overlook the whole thing. It all depends on the examiner. But for what it is, you have to know what you're writing. If you're writing a report, there shouldn't be "thank you." There shouldn't be "yours sincerely." So all this will fall under your CA. All right?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bobby, for that clarification on the 4 questions. So we have covered 2 parts of the paper 2 explanation on what it is all about. I hope you do get the gist of it. And let's take a short break and watch this video. Okay, thank you for staying with us. So we have come to our third part of the presentation tonight. So let's welcome Mr. Bobby again. Okay, hi, Mr. Bobby. So are you ready
Right.
with your presentation next?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Harian.
Okay, let's
Okay.
go.
So we are done with the 4 marking criteria. Okay. So let's look at the next one. So you do have extra reminders here. So overline, underline scripts. Lang is not actually a criterion here. Okay. So just remember you have time limit. So very important for weak students, very important for very good students, especially excellent students. If you are very good in writing, you may write a lot. Okay. So if you write too much, your time, you might run out of time. You might not have time for the extra parts. Okay, that's one danger. And then also you may have irrelevance there, because sometimes I know good writers, I do have my students who love writing a lot, so they will go on and on and on, and that will lead to irrelevance. So if it goes to, if it leads to irrelevance, your content marks will be affected. Okay. And then do not assume if you cannot finish the essay, then you cannot assume that, never mind, like the examiner will know I'm good, and then I have to stop here. Then you write some notes there, because it happens in exam. Students write notes there. Dear examiner, very sorry, I cannot finish my paper in time and so on, because I have too much ideas and this and that. Examiners will not pay attention to that, bear in mind. Examiners will disregard that. Okay, no matter how many sorries you put there, they don't care. Okay, so and then if it's too short, there's no problem. It's just that examiners will have nothing to mark. Okay, but bear in mind, if it's too long, too short, if you can finish writing all the answers, if you can address all the questions, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, then lifting. Lifting is something that you should not do. Okay, do not lift from the question. Do not salin the soalan again. Do not modify the question into your own words. That will be a very weak way of writing. Okay, later I'll show you one example also. Okay, so now let's look at some pitfalls in writing. A few, I'm trying to go fast because I know a lot of you are actually very sleepy or very tired, or you want to leave. Okay, right, so let us look at some pitfalls. Okay, I'll show you this. So dear Maria, I hope you're in the pink of health. I also hope you are hearty and as fit as a fiddle. Remember to get enough rest and sleep early at night so that you can wake up early at the crack of dawn. As you know, the early bird catches the worm. You must also eat well, because you are what you eat. Eat more leafy vegetables and fruits, as an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Lastly, prevention is better than cure. Okay? So what do you think of this email here? Would you say it's wonderful? Would you think that is a wow thing? Because I know for some students who attend tuition classes, they will be very impressed, and the teachers will say, I'll give you the whole list of proverbs, you go and memorize. Idiomatic phrases, you go and memorize. You dump everything in, your examiners will be impressed. Let me tell you one thing that is a myth. Examiners will not be impressed if you dump in a lot of proverbs. Actually, if you don't have any proverbs at all, it is not wrong. Proverb is not a must, or it is not even a requirement in the examination. You can write good essays, okay, even without proverbs. All right. So if you have excessive use of idiomatic phrases, proverbs, wise sayings, okay, it's actually, you don't really need this. Okay, you don't really need all this. Okay, and then you can see from this sample here, too many proverbs and idioms is actually very awkward, very weird. All right. So yeah, you see the face there. Okay, it's very unnatural. All right. So next one, second pitfall. So it's so sweet to hear from you. Let us go for a picnic. I will bring along mouth-watering menu and a wide variety of drinks. We can also play enthusiastic sports, and then we will have health body. Donnie will join us, and we will have a spectacular and breathtaking weekend. Okay, what do you think? Let me answer for you. Okay, some weird word choices. Okay, sweet to hear from you. Would you tell this to your friend? If you're writing to your friend, be it a good friend or a pen friend, would you be saying this? It's so sweet to hear from you. Wrong choice of words. Mouth-watering menu. Wrong choice of words. Wide variety of drinks. Wrong choice of words. Okay, enthusiastic sports. Very ambitious, trying to use big words, enthusiastic, but wrongly used. We will have health body. So there is an obvious confusion of the word health and healthy. We will have a spectacular and breathtaking weekend. Doesn't sound so right here. So let's look at the second example. Okay, you have, for an example, like what I mentioned, I agree with you, my lovely friend, dear principal, in the same time. So all these are some common, maybe for you, you would say it's very small error. But for examiners, these will be errors that make us think, ugh, okay? So wrong choice of words, inaccurate vocabulary. So for examiners, we'll have this expression, ugh, okay? Because you shouldn't be using all this awkward or making these mistakes, okay? And then if you have the wrong choice of words, you do have very awkward essay, so very odd essay as well. Huh? Okay, let's look at the third pitfall. Okay, I mentioned this just now. So inaccurate use of cohesive devices, we have discussed this. So I will just replay some slides here. Okay, the ones I mentioned, too many uses of cohesive devices, flooding, wrong choice of cohesive devices, okay? So next one, the fourth pitfall. Let's look at the question here. Your classmates have been discussing some free time activities that teenagers enjoy, and your teachers ask you to write an essay on how you utilize your leisure time. So look at the question, okay? So this is the reply. This is the response. My classmates have been discussing some free time activities that teenagers enjoy, and my teachers asked me to write an essay on how I utilize my time. So this is the introduction given by the student, okay? So like what I mentioned just now, lifting. Lifting means you copy straight from the question, you change your classmate to my classmates, so you change to me, you to become me, and this is a very weak way of writing introduction. Do not lift. Even if you have no idea, do not copy the question, okay? Right. And last one, last pitfall. Look at this. Dear principal, you must upgrade the canteen. You should buy new tables and benches first. I mentioned this just now. So Ali, you must exercise because you are fat and ugly. People die fast if they are fat. Okay? Next one, all the other schools are better than our school. We are lousy. Dear sir, I've carried out a survey. I found out that many students didn't like reading. Okay, then the food in this restaurant is horrible. Okay, you should learn to be like me because I'm the best. Let me just explain to you very briefly. The first one, very authoritative, okay, instructing the principal, you must do this, you must do that, like what I mentioned. The CA here, okay, communicative achievement will go down. Here, Ali, you must exercise because you're fat and ugly. The CA here will go down also because you are rude to your friend, even though it is very informal, but you are rude, you are hurting, okay, you are being very hurtful, okay. And the next one, comparing, okay, you are comparing and then you are degrading your own school, okay, so which is a bad way of writing. CA will go down. Here, what is wrong here? Look at the contractions. I've carried out, I have, didn't. This is a report. When you are writing a report, it should be very formal. So when it comes to formal writing, you do not have contractions. You don't say I have. You will write in full, I have, I-H-A-V-E. I have, I-H-A-V-E, did not like reading. So if this is written in your report, the language is a bit too informal. Okay, so that's why it is not suitable for a report. So here, the food in this restaurant is horrible. Again, very bad way of giving review. You should learn to be like me because I'm the best. It sounds very, this person sounds very proud, very conceited, very arrogant. Okay, so here, wrong register, wrong tone, very hurtful, intimidating, very daunting, demanding, sarcastic, rude, and improper. Okay, so if this happens, ugh, okay, so do not do this. All right, so these are the pitfalls. So let me show you some examples. Okay, right, so this is the sample, the one just now. So let's look at the response here. Some of you may be asking how to get good marks here. So you can look at this. So hi, Amy. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that you have brought this up as I had nothing planned for the holidays. I'm totally excited and I know just a place for a picnic. It will be at City Park just next to the newly opened shopping mall in town. So if you were to look at the question here again, there are three questions you have to address. Where shall we go? The place. What can we do there? What should we bring? So three questions here, you have to address this. So it's mentioned here, we go to City Park, 1. We can skate there. So skate will become the activity. So what to bring? Bring an extra mat to place our foods, okay, just in case I lost mine. Okay, so you have some extra information here. And if you see, you don't really need idiomatic phrases, you do not need proverbs and so on, okay? So this can easily get a 20 because it is the first question, first part. So the marking is will be based on email, okay? So one more example, if you look at the question, so you receive an email from your friend Alif, who is studying in a boarding school in another town. He's coming back for the school holidays. Okay, I'll show you the sample. Okay, hi Rizal, how have you been? Anyway, I hope you are available this coming school break because I'm coming home for 2 weeks. Let's do something adventurous this time. Where do you think we should explore? What can we do there? Let me know if I need to bring anything in particular. Should we ask Nicholas to join us? Hope to hear from you soon, Alif. Okay, so in this case, you have to write in 80 words, but bear in mind, okay, look at these things I'm highlighting now. Huh? How have you been? I'm coming home. Let's do something adventurous. So this will be indication that the essay is informal, it is friendly. So when you're writing friendly essays to your friend, you will be using contractions. How have you been? I am, let's. So it's informal, okay? So next one, keyword adventurous. So if you do not read the question properly, you may misinterpret. It is not let's go somewhere. Okay, it's not let's go to a shopping mall or let's go and watch a movie. So if you answer let us go and watch a movie, it shows that there is a misinterpretation, salah paham soalan. So that will be dangerous. Marks for content will go down. It will be affected. So in your exam, you may see some of these tricky questions here, like adventurous. Okay, meaning your response should be something adventurous. And the key idea, where should we explore? The word explore. Okay, so it tells you that it's somewhere that is quite adventurous or somewhere that is quite exciting. So what can we do there? Let me know if I need to bring anything in particular. Okay, then you have an extra question. Should we ask Nicholas to join us? So when you answer the question, you have to address 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to answer 4 parts. You cannot just ignore Nicholas here. Suddenly you tak jawab Nicholas. So it will be a hanging thing. Okay? So I have 2 responses you can look at. So first one, hi Alif. Thank you for your wonderful email. It is so nice to hear from you. School holiday is the time for us to relax and unwind. Do you know that it is pivotal for us to take some time off and smell the roses? Life is a box of chocolates and we should enjoy ourselves too. I think we should go to the beach and have a picnic. We can see crystal clear water and the white sandy beach. It will be invigorating to drink coconut water, which is very revitalizing and good for our health. We need to drink a lot of water. We can play on the beach and collect seashells to make scrapbooks. We do not need to ask Nicholas. It is not a nice friend because a friend in need is a friend indeed. So hope to hear from you soon. Yours sincerely. Okay, Rizal. What do you think of this email? First of all, it sounds a bit too formal. Thank you for your wonderful email. Okay, because you are writing to your friend. If it sounds too formal now, it's a bit odd. Okay, and then school holidays is the time for us to relax and unwind. Why are you giving your friend information here? Okay, you don't need to give your friend info because it is not a discussion on what school holiday is. Okay, then big words. Do you know that it is pivotal? Okay, writing to your friend using big words or sophisticated or bombastic words, it's actually very odd, very awkward. It's very unnatural. Okay, then take some time off and smell the roses. Okay, a saying, you don't need this. Life is a box of chocolates. You don't really need this. Okay, then this part is very dangerous. We should go to the beach. But the question is about something adventurous, which means you are not answering the question 100%. Okay, so there is some misinterpretation here because going to the beach is not exactly adventurous, unless if you mention go scuba diving, okay, or maybe deep sea fishing, okay, so, or maybe you go on jet skiing. Unless you do that, then it's different. Okay, so here, crystal clear water, white sandy beach, invigorating to drink coconut drink. All these things will be very relaxing and not exploring. So it is not actually answering the question. Okay, then this part here, we don't have to ask Nicholas. He's not a nice friend. So this part, the register is a bit wrong. It's a bit rude here. Okay, so this will not be a good sample, or will not be a good essay here. So how many marks do you think this will get? For content, it may get 2 or 3. Okay, and then as for CA, it will be getting lower also because it's too formal, one thing, and then also it's a bit rude here. Maybe I'll give this a 3. Okay, and then as for organization, okay, we do have some linkers and, okay, which is, so this will be cohesive device, simple cohesive device. So because, so to make scrapbooks and good for our health. So this one, organization, maybe can get a 3 or 4 because it's email. Okay, email will be, I mean, the 3 essays will be marked individually differently. Yeah, I think your teachers know that already. So in this case, this will get a 4 for organization. And as for language, even though there are very good words here, pivotal, invigorating, okay, revitalizing, but still the language is a bit odd. It is not friendly enough. So maybe as for this, it will get a 3 or 4. So in total, you will get about 12 or 13 or 14. But anyway, as long as you're answering, you can easily get a 12, 13, 14 for email. That is why you have to write, okay? When it comes to writing, you have to answer the questions. You cannot miss out. Okay, just now I missed out one part. There are 3 parts you have to answer. Okay, some of you may say that you want to answer part 3 first because part 3 you have report, you have review, and you have memorized that. Let me tell you, part 1, the email is a bonus mark. Okay, no matter how you answer, you can still score. Okay, you can easily get 10, you can easily get 15 for first question. Same thing goes for the second question. You can easily get a 12 marks there. Okay, so do not gamble away. Do not just jeopardize this first and second part. You score in this because these two are actually helping a lot. Whereas when it comes to part 3, it's more difficult to score. Okay, that's why you have to score in part 1. Email is a bonus. Do it. You must do it. Okay. Okay, and then do not spend too much time writing part 3 first, then you have no time for part 1. Follow the sequence. Answer email, answer part 2, then answer part 3. All right. So another response here. You have hi Alif. You're coming back. That's such a great news. It's a lucky thing I'm not doing anything this break, so I'll be free to join you. Since you're keen on doing something thrilling, we should go caving in Gua Tempurung Perak. In addition to that, it is one of the longest caves in Peninsular Malaysia and popular among caving enthusiasts. There you can see the amazing rock formations, stalactites and stalagmites. Not only that, I've read up that there are cave creatures like the albino millipedes, crickets, spiders, and bats. If you're up for it, make sure you bring your caving equipment, especially a pair of sturdy shoes, helmet, hat, torch, as well as climbing gear. We should definitely ask Nicholas to come along as he loves exciting activities too. Reply me soon. Can't wait. Okay, so result. Okay, so if you can see, it's more friendly. You are coming back, contraction. That's such a great news, contraction. It's a lucky thing. Okay, then you do have a lot of cohesive devices since you are keen on doing something thrilling. In addition to that, not only that, if you're up for it, you can see a lot. But these are not cohesive devices. It's not therefore, it's not furthermore. These are what we call organizational patterns. And then they sound more natural since you're keen on doing something thrilling. Not only that, it's natural. Okay, it is not memorized cohesive devices. If you're up for it, it's natural. Okay, and then can't wait. It's a very simple, informal, and friendly response here. Okay, response. So you have the questions, where to go. So what to do, you have what to bring. So answering the 3 questions already. Okay, then Nicholas is already mentioned, also addressed. So you have 4 things, everything answered here. Okay, then you have a lot of cohesive device and organizational pattern. There, not only that, if you're up for it, okay, then let's look at the blue boxes there. So you have words, thematic vocab, caving enthusiast, amazing rock formations, caving equipment, sturdy shoes, climbing gear. Okay, so all these will be the thematic words to do with caving. You learn caving in Form 3. Okay, in Form 3, there is 1 chapter on caving, 2 chapters actually. So You cannot say you don't know anything about. Because if you have learned English since Form 1, all the textbooks are actually very well organized. You should know them. Okay? Right. So this is a good response, a better response actually. Answers everything. And as for cohesive devices, you can see the organization very well organized. And then as for language vocab, everything there. Okay? Right. So if I were to mark this, I'll be giving this a 5, 5, 5, 5. Definitely, yeah? So what's the time? 10:21. Okay, so I'll just show you a few more examples. So this one is article. So 3 things you have to address, 3 questions here. So my school canteen, what other types of food you would like to be served? What special facilities should a canteen have? How can you improve your canteen? So I'll show you this paragraph. So in this era of globalization, every school has their own canteen. I'm not sure how other schools' canteen are like, but I believe they're their own specialties. For example, the food they serve, their cleanliness, their facilities, and many more. Today, I'm going to talk about how my school canteen should improve. So the first slide itself, in this era, all globalization is very awkward. Okay, so this is not a good one. So I know many students, they attend tuition classes or you read samples from online. You love to use this phrase all over Malaysia. I wouldn't say examiners love this very much. Okay, so let's look at second paragraph. I've seen the canteens at other schools, other countries' schools, and theirs are much better than ours here in Malaysia. So comparison, saying that Malaysia's canteens are not that good. Okay, then if you look at the next paragraph, my school canteen serves food that makes students full, like nasi goreng, nasi lemak, and kway teow. However, these foods are very oily. They make students very sleepy after recess. Because of that, I want my school to start serving healthy food like sandwiches and fruits. So this part here is a bit demanding. I want my school to do this. I want my school canteen to do that. Okay, so you can see that this is not okay. Overall, it's actually a very good essay. But maybe when it comes to communicative achievement, it is not a 5. So this can get a 4, for example. So you can see the marks will not be 0 straight away because of these demands. Okay, if it's a bit rude and so on, you will not get 0 straight away. Maybe 1 mark lower, okay, slightly 1 mark, or maybe if it's very bad, maybe 2 marks. So don't worry about too much about that. Right. Okay, so this is one, the last one I'll discuss with you. So about healthy eating article. So what should young people eat to stay healthy? So what should young people drink to stay healthy? When should young people eat? So 3 questions, 3 WH questions here. So you have to answer these questions, and then this article will be featured in our magazine. So it will be an article. So let us look at the points here. So basically, we try to organize our essay in 5 paragraphs. Okay, so keyword is healthy eating. It's not healthy lifestyle. So it will not involve exercise. It will not involve sleeping. It will not involve listening to music. Okay, so simple introduction. Okay, so many teenagers love to eat. They eat the wrong types of food. This could lead them to health problems. So if you want to improvise it, make it better, you can look at this. It has been a common fact that many teenagers enjoy themselves indulging in food. You can see better word choices here, indulging in food. Then you have that, many teenagers. So this one is a cohesive device. Unfortunately, so this one is a speech, what is what I call that? You can say it's an organizational pattern here. Very good. Okay. Some of them eat the wrong types of food at the wrong hours and a linker. Okay. And this one is a cohesive device, could lead them to health problems. So in the very first paragraph, you can see the structured use of cohesive devices and organizational patterns here. Okay, then second paragraph, introduction, then paragraph 1. So teenagers should eat a lot of vegetables and fruits. Vegetables and fruits contain a lot of vitamins and minerals that teenagers need. Teenagers too should also eat grains, which are barley, oatmeal, brown rice, and many more. Grains give them energy. You can see that these sentences, you do have some like which are, but you can see that some are quite simple. Okay, then should also eat protein-based foods such as meat and fish. Teenagers should not eat food that are high in fat, sugar, and salt. So if you want to improvise, paragraph 1 here, this is not introduction, paragraph 1, to begin with, teenagers should consume. So word choice here, instead of using just eat, so use the word consume, plenty of vegetables and fruits, as they are rich in vitamins and minerals that are required by teenagers. Instead of using the word need, you have required. Then you go on. In addition to that, teenagers should also eat more whole grains like barley, blah, 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 and so on, because these, so again, this one is a pronoun, 3 marks cohesive device, them, energy. At the same time, so this one will be organizational pattern. Teenagers should take in. So instead of saying consume, eat, you use the word take in, the phrase take in. Protein-based foods such as meat and fish, however, to show contrast. So this one will be a good cohesive device. It is not advisable for them. Again, them referring to teenagers, so better. So you can see if you want to improvise, you have to write a lot. You have to improvise a lot. Okay, same thing goes for the second paragraph. You have simple, you have better ones. Okay, simple. Instead of using just it's advisable for teenagers and so on, you can just add something in front to stay healthy. Okay, then they should drink at least 8 glasses of water per day. At the same time, they can drink fruit juices, but okay, then therefore, so you can have a therefore here, 1. So 1 is a good pronoun to replace people, okay, and so on, okay, so or teenagers. So yeah, paragraph 3. So again, better. So teenagers should also eat at proper times. Okay, so you combine them, you make them into a complex sentence. Not only should teenagers eat a well-balanced diet, they should eat at proper times. Okay, so you have then again you have 1 however. Okay, so it's much better than this one. It is not, I'm not saying that this will get you a 0. This might get you a 3 marks or 2 marks, but if this is part 3, this is a part 3 question, this will give you a 2 or 3 because it's part 3. Okay, soalan ketiga. And then this will give you a 4 or a 5. Okay, so conclusion, simple one. If teenagers get proper nutrition at the right time, their body will grow healthily, their brains too will develop well. So conclusion, in conclusion, to conclude, needless to say, if teenagers get proper nutrition at the right time, their body will grow healthily. Moreover, so good cohesive device, their brains too will develop well. Okay, so you can see, if you put them into paragraph, it's actually long enough. So I see one question here. If I forget to write written by, not really. Okay, marks will not be deducted. But the thing is, you do have title, right? So title, and then remember, do not write dear sir, good morning sir, and then don't write thank you. Because if you write thank you, it will become something else. It is no longer an article. Okay, so this will be how the article looks like. So I think I'll stop here. Okay, so do you have any questions?
Okay, I think there's one more. You have already addressed one of the questions,
Yes.
but we have one from Kuhan. Okay, if I choose to write a movie review, can I like use fake names for the cast although the movie title is legit? I mean, can I make
Okay, if
up?
you're able to write, if you're able to create, if you're able to just create a movie review, create a
A bit
movie out
difficult
of
in reality,
zero,
but
and then make it
yeah.
so convincing that I feel like watching it.
Mhm.
Yeah, but why not? It is not wrong. Okay, you can create fictional movies, you can create fictional characters as well.
Yes. Use something from Netflix and create your own fake names, I think. All right.
Yes.
I think here's another one. Uh, is it compulsory to write the number of words at the end of the essay? Will the marks be affected if I didn't write the total number of words?
I know you don't have to count. Okay, like what I mentioned just now, the number of words will not affect your marks. But if it's too long, you might have irrelevance. If it's too short, examiners have nothing to mark. So that will be, you have to know that's why in the very beginning, the first few slides I told you, look at the time management. You use 20 minutes for email, 30 minutes for the second essay, 40 minutes for the last essay. That will be optimal, I think. Okay.
All right. So that's all that we can entertain for now. We can only address two questions. I think Mr. Bobby will be proceeding with the last part of the presentation. Yeah. You have another part, right?
Last part. Actually,
Okay,
yeah,
let's
actually I
go.
covered everything already. Mr. Harrion. Yeah.
Okay. So that's all
Yeah.
basically. So if that is so, would you mind to address one more question?
Yeah, sure, no
You
problem.
don't, just one more, because I saw this one. I think it's talking about the how does the word count work?
The word
The
count.
kind of phrase. Uh-huh.
Oh, you mean the number of words, is it?
Yes. How do
Okay, how
we
do
actually
they?
count the phrases? Is it by
We don't
phrases?
count the number of words actually. And then if you're using idioms, in English, every word is considered one word. Even if you write just the letter
Mhm,
A is one word, I is one word.
mhm,
And then if you say an apple a day keeps doctor away, you have to count an apple a day keeps the doctor away. So it will be 9 words in total. Even like if you write someone's name like Tan Cheng Lok, it will be 3 words. So it's the same thing like when you type in Microsoft Word. Okay, so you have 3 words there.
Okay. So that's all for thank you for all your questions. So unfortunately, we don't have much time left. Like we have only allocated for about 1.5 hour. I think it's good that we don't prolong our session for too long. I think you might. I think it's time for you to really digest everything. But just for information, you can just go back to this video, just in case if you want to refer to some of the important notes that Mr. Bobby has given us. And we do appreciate if you kind enough, I mean, to share this link to your friends. Yeah, share this to your friends who are celebrating Deepavali. They might not be able to really pay attention to this webinar session. They might not be with us tonight because it's just a celebration. It's a festive season. I believe everybody is at home at the kampung somewhere. So you can share the link with them. And at the same time, do not forget to like this video and also to subscribe to our channel because we are going to give you more videos. Like starting this Monday, we're going to have sejarah okay, again with our guest speaker from I think SMK Dato Usman Awang, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so please put that in your schedule. Okay, so we are going to have another webinar on Monday, and with that, I wrap up our session tonight. So thank you, Mr. Bobby, for being with us tonight. And also,
Welcome.
again,
Thank
do
you very
not
much to you
forget to
too.
click the link that was given to you. Okay. All right. So okay, let's wave a wave of good luck to our SPM candidates this year. Okay. So all the best, and see you again.
All right, all the best to you. Okay, see you.